Welcome to the Grief Pod with Venetia Quick. This is a weekly podcast which looks at every aspect of something which has or will at some point affect us all. And that is grief. Whether you've lost a loved one or about to lose someone you know, or perhaps you're simply trying to help someone navigate their grief and don't know where to start or what to say, then perhaps this is the podcast for you. Each week I'll be bringing you different stories and experiences of loss, love, hope and at times humour. Ireland AM presenter and possibly the happiest man on TV and Panto star Alan Hughes lost both his mum, Maureen, and his dad, Kevin, in the same year when he was just 10 years old. Alan is my guest on this week's episode of The Grief Pod and you're very welcome. Thank you
so much. Thank you.
And you've been up since very early this morning.
Very early this morning, but we're still going. It's all good.
I do appreciate it.
It's all good.
Okay, can you start maybe by telling me some of your memories of your mum, Maureen, and your dad, Kevin, because you only really had 10 years with them.
Yeah, and that's very strange. So, like, obviously, I've lived my life without them. You know, like the majority of my life without them. But I always remember they're always very happy memories because I suppose there's a 10-year gap between me and my next eldest.
Okay.
So even at that rate, like when a new baby comes along like that there is that bit of being spoiled, I suppose. Yeah. You know, and that was, I suppose, always the case for me, that I was looked after, and it was a surprise, and it was sort of, so those memories of Ballyfermot and growing up are always like very, very nice and happy memories when Mum and Dad were around, you know. So I think it probably changed then afterwards. But for those memories, yeah, it was always, my mum was quite a small, frail looking woman, but very hearty. And my dad was sort of the bigger man. But it's like, yeah, those sort of things. And I suppose it was like when you're surrounded by 5 brothers and sisters who like this new little lad in your life, you know. So I suppose it was a novelty for all them as well.
Yeah, so you were the centre.
Yeah, exactly.
The centre of the universe.
I remember, even though I wouldn't remember, I was told, like, the thing about our house was we always had parties in our house. There'd always be like a group of people. There'd always be aunts and uncles. There'd always be there. There'd always be occasions. And I'd be the one up on the table, like at 5 and 6, singing a song. You know, that type of thing.
Changed.
You know, so nothing has changed there. Yeah, so it is a bit like that it would be. I'd be up on the table supposedly singing a song. I can vaguely remember some of I remember the parties, because I remember just the amount of people in the house, because we just lived in a
it's all relative,
it's a 2-bedroom house.
Yeah,
exactly, a 2-bedroom house in Ballyfermot, which still is a 2-bedroom house. It never got extended in that respect, and so just to have that amount of people in the house, you know, I always remember being lots of people, surrounded by lots of people.
Yeah, and then I suppose that you were surrounded by lots of people at a sadder event.
Time, yeah.
You know, when you lose, as I suppose as a parent whose kids have lost a parent at a very young age, the concept of losing your mum or your dad when you're that age is sort of like, it's inconceivable. It's hard to get into that headspace. What was going through your head?
Do you remember? Sometimes when I look back, because the amount of loss that I've had in my life between them and now, it's quite like you just go, oh my God, can there be anyone else? That I think in some ways it could have changed me dramatically, and in other ways then I'm sort of glad that it wasn't later on in my life, where it probably may have affected me more, do you know, in that sort of way. In that, like, to lose both your parents within 6 months of each other, I was the only person with my mum when she died. She died in my arms, and I was the only person not with my dad when he died out of the family, because they didn't want to bring me to the hospital, because they didn't know what the situation was. They were all called in. They didn't know it was the middle of the night. So I remember them all coming back and hearing the news that way. But I was the only one with my mum that morning when she died. And I suppose as a 10-year-old, to grapple with that and to comprehend it and just to take it all in, it is difficult. And I think it showed me a bit of strength that was in me, that I did manage to survive it. And it worked out well, where I think some people may have gone down a totally different avenue and could have blamed all that on
let it
the life
yeah.
that brought them down, you know, and could have
Yeah.
gone, well, you didn't have that grief when you were younger, and that's like, of course it was going to be like this, you know. So in that respect, I do sometimes think of it and go, it's never a blessing, but did it give me something that made me stronger and made me the more positive person? Because I think in me, the one thing that I always think I am is positive. I try to be glass half full, never glass half empty man. And I always try to be like that. So I think maybe it did instill something in me at a very young age to sort of think that way, like, you know, to think, okay, I mean, there has been grief later in my life that affected me an awful lot more than my parents dying. And I think that was because maybe I was so young. And luckily I was able to cope with it.
Yeah, because it is like, I suppose, losing one parent is one thing.
Yeah.
And then losing both. Within 6 months is like, you know, I wonder, do you think then as a child, well, this is the norm? This is what happens.
Well,
because it's so
like you met, like,
it's a huge thing.
It was 50 years ago. When you say it that way, when I've never said it that way before, but like it was 50 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, so the times were so different. Different. Children are much more attuned to things now about death and about how old you should be when you die, and like, you know, the whole thing around it.
But the support as well is different. Like in that time, it's sort of like, you know, this is tough, but you get on with it, and especially in sort of Irish families.
It was tough, and it was like a thing. They were all the thing was like with me. It was like, oh, what are we going to do with him? And then they thought the best thing for me was that I'd be sent down to my brother's in Enniscorthy because he'd an accountancy firm down there, and they thought that might be better for me down there. I lasted a week there and I ran away.
Isn't that a weird concept though?
Like,
Well,
take him out of the family home and send him somewhere
else.
like else, you know. But I suppose it was a case of, well, what's going to be the best for him in the long run? But that didn't work out for me at all, and I just ran away. I took money, like, at the police looking for me. I was literally like, you know.
Wow.
So then when I got back to Ballyfermot, then it was like decided, well, we can't keep this going.
Yeah.
So Ballyfermot with my sister Margaret and her husband John and the family there. So like, and their kids are nearly like my brothers and sisters now, like, because like their oldest Carol she's 50 odd. She's like my sister.
Yeah, because you grew up together.
Because we grew up together in that respect, like, you know. So in that respect, that was probably a bit of. But then I left home quite early. I left home when I was 18, and I went off to America, and I did things. So it's sort of like I'm the way people are now. I just think you're right when you look back and you say it's 50 years. There's an awful lot of change in 50 years and people's concept of what a thing. And Ireland back then was, you died, you were buried, and then it was like you had the wake, and then you moved on. You moved on. You know,
and I mean, it is sort of now in 2025, or like even the last 10 years, it's sort of. There's much more support for kids.
There's much more support for kids.
There's much
and
more
kids.
understanding and like advocacy groups or whatever it is for kids going through grief.
But then I suppose like
that
they
wasn't there.
Yeah, but then I think they need it more because they're much more aware and they're open to so much more now than we were. Like, we were very shielded. Like, all I knew was in Ballyfermot was the fields across the road, the house. That's maybe a holiday down to Mosney or somewhere like that, to Butlins at the time. So, like, the world was never really open to a 10-year-old the way it is now, and the way a 10-year-old can see the world now. Yeah. So I think a child now would need that support than maybe a child did then. But I, like, touch wood, I was lucky that I did survive it. I did come out of it.
Is there any advice that you give to that 10-year-old you now?
Just to no, not because I think the way I managed it, I'd be very proud of the 10-year-old me. Yeah, I'd be very proud of that 10-year-old to be able to manage and navigate a life after that, as tough as it was. But be able to navigate that. That's huge, for you to lose both parents like that and to be able to navigate your life from there. and your life as perceived by other people to be, oh my God, you've made a great success of your life. But to be able to come from that to what I do now and to what I have become, yes, I am proud of that. And
But
so,
even irrespective of what you do for a living, to get through that
yes, yeah.
in itself
Yeah.
is remarkable.
It is, but once again, it is that sort of, you just, like, I'm always that person. Like, I never seek out opportunities as such like that, and I never have all my life. Like, it's funny that the way things have always sort of come my way. You know, I've never actually had
It's life
a
giving
massive.
back.
Yeah, I've never had a massive career path like that. What I had, you know, there were some people going, okay, I want by 24 I'm going to be this. Like, and I
5-year
know
plan.
people,
Yeah.
and I know people in the business now, and they go, oh, by the end of the year I'm going to be presenting this show. Then I'm going to be doing this. And they said my agent has this 4-year plan for me, and I'm going, oh my God, I wish I had an agent back then.
Yeah.
To do a 4-year plan for me. I never had any of that. But
Yeah.
look, sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. And luckily it's worked out for me
Yeah, in a tough business.
in a very tough
Yeah.
business. And to be still doing this in a very tough business is
yeah.
extraordinary. After like 26 years, I've just signed a new 2-year deal. So to be saying that you're in the same show, in the same business for over 27 years
incredible.
is incredible in any
Yeah.
business. Like,
And
you're in.
that's even just the getting up early.
Yeah, no, but it's not even
know?
that. But you know yourself, to
Yeah.
be in show business, as
Yeah.
they call it, the business of show, is so flimsy and
Yeah,
so
it's fickle.
like, fickle.
It's- yeah.
Like this, you're flavored the month this month, and then you're not, and then that and that. And so to be able to keep doing it, and for people to keep liking me as a
Yeah.
person, I take as a great compliment.
Tell me about your sister and your brother, David. Because that then became the next.
This became the
Big
next
grief.
thing. Doreen, I was very, very close to my sister Doreen. And my sisters, Doreen and Margaret, and myself, the three of us would do lots of things together. And we just went on holidays together. We did lots of things together. Myself and Doreen, because she lost a daughter in a
Okay.
car accident when she was only 10.
Oh.
So we went through all that as well with Doreen. And then, so when Doreen got sick, when Doreen got cancer, that was, to me, that was the first real battle that
How
I
old were you then?
had. Oh God, she's dead now 13 years,
Okay.
13, 14 years. I'm hopeless at dates. I'm hopeless
So
at
what I'm
dates
saying.
and years
Yeah.
and just like,
Numbers.
yeah, numbers. But she fought it. Like when she got her cancer first, I went to every single one of her chemos with her.
Wow.
And like she would get into her car then afterwards, and then it was all clear. We all celebrated that, and then it came back, and it was to me, that was the thing. And I remember going into, and in James's, they were amazing with her. They were amazing with her, and the doctors there and the nurses there, and I'd be in there every day. And it's so funny. I'd get so annoyed at people sometimes because I'd be in there and she might be having a really bad day, and then there'd be somebody asking me, could they take a selfie? Do you know, this type of thing?
Read the room.
And I was going, if you looked around, you know we are in a chemo
Yeah.
ward, and I'm obviously in here for a reason.
Yeah.
But I think people just got so excited when they see you, or like, you know, and they just go, I was only watching
Well,
you
it's
this
a
morning.
distraction
you know,
maybe from what they're going through.
Well, it could have been,
Yeah.
you know, but it was just, that used to annoy me sometimes. But like, I love my fans, and I love the fact that they still watch the show and still come to Panto and stuff. But that was very tough for me. That was really tough. And I remember just the last time going into Dr. Kennedy, and he said, Doreen, it's 10 years, we have done everything we can for you, and it's time for you to go to the hospice.
That's the hard
And
conversation.
he just literally said, because he did do everything for her, everything he could. And it was clear, and then it came back, and then it was clear again. And all these little milestones, like, you know, and you'd be going into, like, and obviously if my stomach was sick and my heart pounding, you can only imagine what it was like for her.
Yeah.
And then to be told, he just said, look, we've done everything for you, and it's time to go to the hospice. And we literally stood up and walked out the door. And she went, well, that's that.
Yeah.
And literally within 2-3 days, she was in the hospice in Harold's Cross. And I remember the first day she went into the hospital, she gave me money. And she says, now I want you to go and buy something nice for Dr. Kennedy. I says, what'll I buy him? And she said, something. I don't know. What would you buy a doctor?
Yeah.
And I said, I don't really know. I said, will I buy him some? I don't know. Anyway, I went off and I brought it. And the next day I came up with it. And it was even, she'd gone down so much even in that day. So when I went in with the press, I said, look what I got from her. And she was sort of barely looking at it and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
So, and then it was, but they're amazing.
They
up
are
there.
they're incredible.
They're incredible.
Yeah.
Like just the care, the love, and even to know, like we were leaving one evening and they literally said, I wouldn't recommend leaving.
Yeah.
And they knew
Yeah.
this. I wouldn't recommend leaving. Like this is about 7 o'clock. So we all just stayed. And yeah, about 1 a.m, they came in to us and they went, it's time. And we went in and within an hour, she was gone.
They know. And
They
I
know.
think what's up there is like it's almost like a contradiction because you're going in somewhere where people are dying,
Yes.
but it's the most peaceful.
Oh, it's beautiful. And
calm
they're so,
place
yeah, they are
and-
so lovely. They're like, and then people say they're angels, and they're angels. And I tried to do some work with them, but they have their own ambassadors and they have their own things. And so, I mean, over the years, then I start doing lots of work with Laura Lynn because for Children's Hospice, I just think it's, you know, so I had a lot of stuff with Laura Lynn, and like the show has raised over $500,000 for Laura Lynn, which I'm very, very proud of.
An incredible, that's story is just,
you
know,
just,
again, somebody shouldn't have to lose.
No, I know,
two
but
babies,
no,
you know.
but it's just so, and it's like that again. Anytime I go up to Laura Lynn, I walk out with a smile on my face.
Yeah.
I don't walk out sad. I walk out with a smile on my face because the work they do. And I remember, God, going off track here, but I just thought it was a lovely moment. I was chatting to a mother, and their child was terminal, and they said, I just love it here. I said, what do you do? And she says, just to know that she's safe. And she said, I said, what do you do? She says, I go off and I get my hair cut and my hair washed.
Wow.
And she says to me, she says, I'll go off and have a coffee and get my hair cut and washed. And she says to me, that's like going a 2-week holiday.
Yeah.
She says, I just,
Gives
and
her
I said,
that
just the
respite.
small little things like that. So I try to give back in that way because they are amazing. And like they looked after Doreen so well. And like even then with my brother, it was a different story because he died at home. And then my brother-in-law died only last year. He died at home as well. So it is a very different setup to be in a hospice situation and be in a home situation where the hospice people are coming in. But with Doreen, that was the first, like even though both my parents died, that was the first really hard hitting aspect of it that I felt I was walloped by.
Yeah.
You know, I was walloped by. And the fact that we had lost Maureen as well, and Debbie, her other daughter, was going through an awful lot of different personal traumas in her own life. And so it was just a horrible, horrible time.
And all quite close together again.
Yes. Yeah.
So you're basically catching breath.
Yeah. And then it
again,
happens
and
again. And then, then my brother, healthy as anything. And then once again, that bloody cancer is just, it's awful. And then my best friend, Noel O'Brien, went in for an operation. I was talking to him that morning and I said, you're going to be grand. And he got through the operation and then got sepsis and was in James's for months. Literally couldn't talk, his tube in his, and going up to see him. That was probably one of the worst things because to know that everything was there and his body was just breaking down. You know, that was horrible. So to see that, so then that all came very, very quickly. You know, my sister, my brother, your best friend, and then with my sister's husband, John, only there 2 years ago. And the same thing, cancer again. And I just go, oh my God.
It was everywhere. How does it make you feel though? Because I know when you're around people that get cancer and when there's they're close to you, and there might be a couple of people, as you were saying, close together, and you're literally trying to grieve one, and then another one. You sort of get a bit, you've a twinge in your leg. You've
I'm a
slightly,
total
you become
hypochondriac. I'm a total hypochondriac.
which is totally natural.
I
I'm
go
told.
and get my bloods done every 6 months.
Yeah.
I literally, and I'm a doctor saying to me, you don't need, and I said, who's paying for it?
Yeah.
I said, it gives me peace of mind. I
Yeah.
will go and get my bloods done every 6 months.
Okay.
And if there's anything, I have a little thing in my head, I'm going to a specialist to get it seen to. And the doctor's going, that doesn't look, and I said, send me to a specialist, let him look at it properly. And it is because of this word cancer, which I know affects so many people in this country, and it touches everyone's lives. But because a brother, a sister, a brother-in-law, best friend, all died of it. It just is that one thing that I'm terrified of.
Yeah.
I'm terrified of the word, and having gone through it. And I know there's some great stories. Some people are totally clear of it, and I know there's advances in it.
But they have to go through a tough battle to get to that point.
To get that point as well. But knowing what I did, what I've seen, and what I set through, you see, if you didn't sit through every chemo and all those appointments, you might go into it with maybe going, oh, what's going to happen? I know exactly what's going to happen, and all those appointments and all those blood tests and the aftermath of it, and the sickness and the sores in your mouth, and you can't eat, and there's the taste as you can't taste food and all that, because I've gone through Dorian and David and everyone with that, and that type of thing, because I know that it puts the fear of God into me. It really does.
And I think that you've had so much loss that must be maybe magnified a bit more, because I know it's sort of standard anyway. When somebody dies, and then you might get a cold, and it's like,
oh yeah,
you're
totally.
rushing to the
It
doctor,
is. But
I
at the
think
same
a lot
time,
of people-
like when somebody said to me, I was saying, because we'd have doctors on the show and stuff like that, and I said, I go for blood tests twice a year, and this professor turned around and says, "What's wrong with that?" And I said, "Thank you."
Yeah. Yeah.
No, literally said.
But it makes sense. You get your car MOT'd or whatever.
Said, exactly. I said, what? She just said, "What's wrong with that?" And I went, "Thank you, thank you for that, thank you."
I was talking to Julia Kelly, the author. She's just written a beautiful book about her mum, and she as well she lost a baby, and she lost her former partner, and has had a lot of loss in life again, in quite close succession. And she has decided that with grief, it's made her want to thrive, and it's made her, I suppose, appreciate life a lot more than she probably would have. Is that something, like you were talking earlier about having your glass half full person?
Yeah.
Is that what you live by?
Definitely. And has been for years.
Yeah.
I say no to nothing. Doesn't mean I can't do it, or I'll get to it when it comes around, but I'll always say yes to it. My husband Carl keeps sort of saying, "You'll be the death of me. You're like a machine." And I'm going, no, but I do, and it is a thing where I will go, yes, appreciate life. It was our anniversary last year. Last week we were 32 years together, and I just went, appreciate this moment, more so than you would. Maybe before.
'Cause you get more meaning.
You do. Yeah. You certainly do. And it's just, I have this thing that, like, I can sit at a coffee shop with a cup of coffee and watch the world go by and think, isn't this lovely now to be here this morning, that I'm able to do this? And small little things like that. And it was that mother in Laura Lynn who just sort of said she wanted to go and get her hair cut and washed. That was the thing to her. So I can now appreciate that.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the big things. It could be literally sitting on the side of the street with a cup of coffee, watching people go by and go, isn't this lovely now?
Yeah.
The sun is shining, I'm here, and I'm able to do this. And it definitely is, because you just don't know what's around the corner. So you live your life. And I know people sort of say, oh, live your life. And it's cringy, but I try to now.
Now, you must have moments where you go behind closed doors and you're out of public and there's none of that. Where,
Of course there is. I mean,
natural.
Of course there is. That's natural, where you'd have your moments, where you'd have your tears and you think. But you see, now the thing is, I definitely think it's made me more like, I'll cry at anything now. Like, I'll cry at anything. If I see a really good song on Britain's Got Talent, I'm bawling. Like, I'm like, aren't they great? Aren't they fabulous? That was really good. And Carl's looking at me going, are you crying? Yeah, but he was very good, wasn't he? Very good. And so I do think, yes, it puts a whole new perspective on your life, and you just want to... I want to embrace everything now.
Yeah, and you have Carl. For 32 years.
Yeah, but we want to embrace things. I want to embrace things. I want to go to places. I want to. We try and go away. We've no children, and it's something that we, luckily, neither of us wanted.
Yeah,
because we could have gone down that, and then that would be that worry again. Then, because if after you've gone through it. You know yourself, like, you have then that worry about your children, and you go, oh my God. So, like, are they sick? Are they going to be doing this? What's happening here? So because we didn't have children, we are able to maybe do more. Our life is more open to us to do things and try and...
More spontaneity.
Yeah, we're more spontaneity. Go away for a weekend, or do a little hotel break, or do something, or just go for lunch. Because we were actually talking about spontaneity on the show. I was like, there was a survey carried out in Ireland last week, and 89% of Irish people in this survey just felt their life was just day-to-day routine.
And actually, when you break that routine, you feel great.
Yeah.
You go,
and that's what they were
saying.
It just even the spontaneity of going, no, I'm not doing that. We're going to lunch.
Yeah. Yeah.
And go to the local cafe and have lunch that day instead of your sandwich and at home or whatever.
Yeah.
And they were sort of saying just breaking that, it really helps.
And it is true. It gives you a better sort of mindset, and you feel much more, ooh.
Now, I knew it would be high, but 89% I thought was very high.
Oh, I don't know. I think especially
most
when
people
you put kids in the equation, it's very
just,
much...
This has to be done this way. Yeah.
Or you get sort of... I always think when you get back from... It's like totally deviating here, but when you get back from holidays and you feel sort of refreshed, whatever, especially after the summer holidays, and then you're into the new sort of I suppose, school year or whatever, you go, do you know what, this year... I'm not going to always go to bed at such and such a time. I am going to go and do that on a Tuesday.
And then you don't
give it 2 weeks and you're back to the same. I'm just thinking now about, one of your big things every year, and we're going to talk about the Panto now in a minute, is, for a lot of people, is the ESB ad.
Oh, that old ESB ad.
The ESB ad. But now, actually, when you know your story, brings on a whole new different meaning.
Coming home, yeah.
Because you're coming home. There's the mum putting on the immersion, and the whatever's in the pot is on the stove, and you didn't have that.
I didn't have that, no.
And it just gives it so much more.
I didn't have that, and it was such a lovely ad to make in that dusty
and
Springfield.
It's the ultimate Christmas ad.
Oh, it is. It was the ultimate Christmas ad
Still
for
is.
7 years, and that dusty Springfield song, coming home. But I never had that because both my parents had gone. So coming home to me was, even coming home to my sister, like, that wasn't even the same, because like, I always felt like she had her kids. Yeah. And so I was older, so I never felt the fact, even though I think Carol is nearly like my sister and all that, I never felt it was coming home.
Yeah.
It wasn't to that home.
When you first saw the ad, when it was first finished and you first saw it, what did you think of that? Because it's sort of... I don't know, now I can't see it any other way.
No, but the first thing I thought of was like, God, I never went to college, so that's like...
I got the royalties.
God, I never went to college, so me returning home, but I know what you mean about that. I like going back to Ballyfermot in that respect was never the home that it was. Because that was Margaret's home with her children. Even though I was there, I was like, I know she'd kill me for saying that, but like the lodger.
Yeah.
Where I was there on a temporary basis, and the house is still there. We're there all the time. My sister, like, she still lives there. And so I'm there all the time. But it's just, in that respect, it's not, I'm not going, when I go up to Ballyfermot, I'm not going up to my home. It's to my sister's home.
Wow. Your alter ego,
Sammy Sausages.
He obviously brings so much joy to kids and adults every year. And, you know, the panto it's such a tradition for so many families. And it's the one thing they do at Christmas, year in, year out. Subconsciously, like, you are bringing so much joy to so many people. Is that, and it's sort of I suppose it's Christmas and it's, you know, a kid. Is that sort of something that, because of what happened to you as a child, you're determined subconsciously to make sure that any child that goes
every
Christmas
year never gets lost to me? And you know why? Because I think we've such loyal fans, and they tell us, Granny or Granddad used to bring us every year, and they're gone.
Wow.
But we know they'd love us to keep the tradition going. And we hear that from them all the time. Or like my mum used to bring us, or 2 years ago, I'm going to start crying now. I got a message from somebody who sort of said that the wife had terminal cancer, and she could make it in, and would there be any chance they could bring the kids in to see the panto, because she just wanted to see them smile and laugh.
One more time.
And I said, absolutely no problem. And we made an absolute fuss of them. And
wow,
it was just amazing. So that is never lost on me. And things like that, I just go, because the stories are, because it is a tradition. It's a family tradition. And Granny would be saving up, and I know the grannies and the granddads or whatever, and the mothers and all would be saving to put that money aside, and that would be their Christmas gift every year. And that day out to them was so special. And then to pass that on then down the generations is something that is never lost on me. And I just love that. And I love to see the same people. Like, we come in and there'd be the same people sitting in the same seats year after year. And then you see and they'd go,
and the little ones are now this size.
Yeah, or then there's new additions.
Yeah.
And say, this is her first time.
Yeah.
She's only 2.5. And I love that. And that's a lovely loyalty that we've kept. And I think that's just been me and Carl being real, because Carl's always around the theatre. Carl knows everybody when he's going, like, they're always coming up to him in the theatre and telling him the stories. So in that respect, yes, it's never lost on me. And the fact that you can bring a bit of joy like that to people, especially the way it's so hard now, it's just so tough.
But it's also, it's generational in that,
totally.
you know, my mum will come with me, for example, and, you know, my kids are 20 and, 15, 13, but they still sort of, might
we
go.
Yeah.
Now
No,
we've
it is.
a nephew we can bring, so we're,
But you know what? It's
I'll go if
funny,
he's
like, it's like, say people like Claire Byrne will come with our family, but then she'll always come back with her mum.
Yeah.
Just the two of them, because they want an afternoon out or an evening out. They might go for a drink and then they'll come, because they're getting all the adult humour out of it and all the thing, and watching.
But it's something really nice in a world where it's very sort of becomes more and more difficult to do stuff all together that everybody enjoys.
Yes.
It is.
It is lovely to do that, and it is something to focus the family on. They all know they're coming to the panto on a certain day, certain time, and they're all together
and
for
it's
it.
also interesting watching the kids getting the adults' jokes.
Yeah, no, and you know what, like,
and
my brother-in-law was saying to me last year, he loved the fact that of his daughter was getting a great kick out of him laughing at the stuff.
Yeah.
And then we do our daddy dance at the end, and we get all the daddies up on the stage, and the kids just adore that. Like, they just adore that.
It's lovely.
It is that. So it is a thing to be able to sort of. There's two things that really struck me was during COVID, where people actually would text in, or people would stop me and go, "You got me through COVID," because it was a bit of normality on the TV. Even though we were in our bubbles, we were so strict on what we could do and couldn't do. But it was like radio, it was like TV. They kept it going. And the amount of people who said to me, you got me through that, just that bit of familiarity every morning, to be able to watch you as having a bit of laugh and doing that, that got me through it. And every year then the same thing about the panto. They literally go, do you know what? Christmas just wouldn't be the same without all the family getting together and coming to see it and doing that. So I love that. They're the two things that stand to me in that respect, is that if we can bring a bit of light into people's life in the morning and that at Christmas, that makes me happy. And that gets me through an awful lot of,
hard days. Harder days.
Yeah. To think that you're giving back in that respect.
Exactly. Finally, your mum and dad would be incredibly proud.
They actually would. Yeah, they would have been, because my family
make you happy?
are. It does because my sister Doreen and Margaret and David and my brother Kevin and my brother Brendan, like they are very proud of me. Not in a big-headed way. No, they sort of like, because I would bring them to events and stuff like that, and they're sort of. But I know they're very, very proud of me, and I know my parents would have been very proud of me, and I'm very proud that I can represent them in that way as well. Because we have a lovely family, even though some of them are gone, and you just want to keep that sort of. That nice memory of, like, I know they'd be so proud, and they're watching down as myself and Carl, because Carl's mum died, Carl's granny died, so it was a case of one Christmas I was going up to Doreen in James's. We were going to Beaumont to Carl's mother, who was dying of cancer at the same time, and we were going out to St. Vincent's because Carl's dad needed a liver transplant.
Oh, stop.
And Panto was happening at the same time.
Wow.
So we were literally trying to figure it all out.
And really be there.
Be there and be on stage and do all that. And like Panto brings in a lot of things like that. It just always seemed to happen around Panto. It's like, it's crazy. I mean, my best friend Noel, when he eventually died, I was in Panto. I was on the side of the stage about to go on, and Carl handed me a phone, and it was Noel's sister. And she says, "We're taking him off the life support. If you want to say goodbye to him, we won't listen, and just hang up." So I'm on the side of the stage. I said goodbye to my best friend. I hung up the phone, and I walked on.
Wow.
And I went.
That's real. Show must go on.
The show must go on. I don't know how I did that, but I did it.
No.
I don't know how I did that, but I did it. But it's just so funny that even during that...
But that's what he would have wanted.
Oh, totally. And it's what my sister would have wanted. But it's just that year, I remember going, can anything else? Like how... And I remember at the end of that going, how did we get from between shows or before shows, go up to James's, go to Beaumont, go to your dad, try and keep that all going.
But you do it.
And then do 2 shows a day. So it's very strange that Panto can bring that into it, and probably kept me going as well.
Yeah.
Because you just had to do it. But there are times like that when you just go, oh my God, it gives me so much joy to do it. But then it has saved me from maybe an awful lot of stuff as well.
Wow. Yeah, that makes sense. Alan, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to this episode of The Grief Pod with Venetia Quick. You can listen on SoundCloud or wherever you get your podcasts. We also have an online community on Facebook, The Grief Pod, or on Instagram @GriefPod Series.